All righty, let's go on to our session 3, Grassroots Civility. Our first presenter is Mina Lee. To quote Ms. Lee as she introduces herself on her own website, "Hi, I'm Mina. I'm a strategist, facilitator, and coach living in San Francisco and Shanghai. Can only imagine the commute." She is also a graduate of the New York University Leonard N. Stern School of Business, holding a degree in finance, economics, and social entrepreneurship. While there, she acted as public relations officer for the Stern Business Ethics Society and editor of NYU's only undergraduate human rights journal, Humanus. Mina is an executive, strategist, facilitator, and coach with a demonstrated history of facilitating cultural change and greater trust and empowerment within individuals, teams, and organizations. Ms. Lee founded the East-West Bridge, an advisory firm located in the San Francisco Bay Area, helping the ecosystem and conscious companies grow by facilitating group and individual transformation and by speaking on and sharing her research and poetry. She works with leaders and organizations in the US, China, and Southeast Asia, and leads in both Mandarin and English. Her service also includes work as an anti-human trafficking volunteer with the UN human rights efforts. Mina, we look very forward to hearing from you. Please help me in welcoming Mina Lee.
Can you please let me know if you can't hear me or if the audio is not coming through at all? Let's go to the presentation. Great, thank you, Caroline. So, and everybody can see my screen? Just double checking. Great, thank you, Caroline. So I want to talk about building civility across cultures today, particularly between the US and China. As everybody knows, we've been experiencing deteriorating US-China relations on a global scale. And we've also been experiencing a rise in Asian hate crimes. In the last 2 years, in 2020, it was up 150%. In the first quarter of 2021, it was up 160%. On the grassroots and the global level, we're definitely experiencing tension between these two cultures. Now, what I want to talk to you today is about building a new possibility for civility across cultures, and an experience that I facilitated where I brought 28 different CEOs of the psychology, well-being, and mental health space from China to the US to build civility across cultures. And I'll be sharing with you some of the learnings from this experience for you to apply within your own communities. We shared the 30-minute documentary last night. We can put it back in the chat for anybody who doesn't have it. And I'm about to show you a short 2-minute clip from it so you can get a brief idea of what I'll be talking about.
I didn't know what to expect when you invited me to come to this event. It felt a little bit like a blind date. I have ideas that aren't really based on anything about what it might be like to do business with Chinese companies. Just preconceptions, yeah. This is going to be really business-like. This is going to be really kind of super focused.
I think that the narrative between China and America is that we are global superpowers in competition for world domination. And what we saw tonight was something very different and something very special. People connecting in their humanity around very difficult problems that we all suffer from regardless of culture, and looking to collaborate on solutions that can help each other, which was very inspiring. It's a different relationship than I ever would have thought of with China.
而是大家都在做一个事情，其实是一个事情，就是心理学的事业事情，就是这个为人类的一个美好，人类的反身的事情。
Whenever we initially meet somebody and we talk about our identities or our roles in the world, it's easy to feel separate from that person. But that also whenever we feel their humanness, and maybe it's the fact that they're a parent and we're a parent, or that we've had a certain disease, they've had that same disease, or that they're struggling with this, we're struggling with that. All of a sudden, there's a closer connection that. So when we can do that, all of a sudden.
Last clip.
I believe in friendship. All the good things that have come in my personal life, but also in my business life, have come out of human beings meeting each other, and there's like a spark of magic that occurs.
All parts of us together, and all of us without you, deepest respect and Okay, so that's just a mini brief clip. Experience. Purpose was to build the consciousness, well-being, flourishing movement together between the East and the West, since a lot of the wisdom had come from the East into the West, and now psychology is very much rising in China, and there's a modernization. How do we build these cross-cultural dialogues? And that was the purpose of the trip. And the people who came had access to over 50 million people on their platforms. And so it's just the market size, and the number of people in China is just, it's on a much different level just because of the population size. So 3 takeaways for building civility from this experience that could be applied in your communities. Number 1, if we believe civility starts with feeling our shared humanity, then it is built through transformative experiences that teach our embodied beliefs a new reality. What I learned was that through actual experience, because these beliefs are held in our emotional somatic body, that's when we learn a new reality and a new possibility is actually present. Number 2, people collaborate with those they like and engage with at a similar depth. Fun and enjoyment are critical to group cohesion. So the first lesson, what I mean by similar depth, we found this when a very close mentor of mine, she built a philanthropist community. And she found that when people said, hey, I'm interested in early childhood education, and I'm interested in early childhood education, but if they related at different levels, they wouldn't actually end up working together. Versus if someone said, I'm interested in X, I'm interested in Y, but they relate at a similar level of depth and they like each other, they'll find a way to collaborate ultimately. And so the whole purpose of that expedition, that trip, was I was building as much cohesion and connection as possible, and I trusted that collaboration would happen naturally. And fun and enjoyment happened on day 3, and that's what really got the group to cohese. And third and lastly, systemic change requires the offering of a more beautiful future. It needs an alternative to the present. And it is offered through transmission, meaning someone, a leader, is living it as true right now, and real experience. People move forward with their hearts, not their heads. So a framework I want to leave you with in how to create transformative experiences is you actually need to balance between a few polarities. The first one is you're balancing between equality, which is nobody is special, everybody is equally worthy and valuable, and you're relaxing the ego's need to be separate and different. And on the other side, individuality. Everybody is unique, everybody is special, everybody has their own deep intrinsic motivation and reason for being here. And then in the North and the South, we have balancing between fun and beauty, this amorphous, nameless space that holds everything together. That's what attracts people in and opens people's hearts. And then how do you have this more masculine aspect of exerting one's mission into the world and having a shared aspiration for people? And this gets applied to 3 different levels. Physical space, we designed everything so people were sitting on the floor, sitting at the same level, equal time and dialogue between the US and the Western side. energy and nutrition, that's the physical body. We had a plant shaman who cooked for us the whole time, where we watched for blood sugar levels to make sure that people were energetic and present. And we served tea every single morning and every single evening to help people process. And lastly, this is the emotional somatic body, making sure that the cadence is sufficient for people to have integration and quiet and alone time on a daily basis. I'm not going to go through this. This is a slide for you to be kept with you for your own checklist when you're designing transformative experiences. This is what I call the emotional curve, and designing for the emotions for one to feel connection and in cohesion so that collaboration can naturally follow. So what I'll leave you with is 3 questions, and this will wrap up the presentation today. The first one is setting the context. What is the truth in people's hearts that you want to give voice to? What I mean by this question is, a mentor of mine once told me that the leader of a movement is someone who gives voice to what is already true in people's hearts. And they're actually pulling them forwards towards themselves. And that's what makes them so powerful. It's not about the leader, it's about each individual recognizing, coming into reckoning with their own truth. So what is the truth in people's hearts that you want to give voice to as a leader in your community? Shifting the reality. What transformative needed to enliven that aspiration, enliven that truth? And lastly, enacting it. How do you want to hold the group field during this transition from one reality to the other? What most makes your own heart waver or doubt while you're pursuing this? And what do you need to stay connected to your North Star and deepest why? And how do you want to lead and transform your team and have fun with your team along the way? That's very, very important. So thank you, Carlos and Caroline. I believe that wraps me up.
Thank you, Mina, for your very hopeful and practical presentation. You definitely provided different ways for us to consider the entire concept of civility.